We continue this morning in our discussion how to convert disabilities to ability. But the title of this in specific is how to develop and engage your own spirit eyes. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9. In King James, but as it is written, the belief and the unbelief of any man cannot change it. It is written. And what was it that is written? Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God has prepared for them that love him. Verse 10. But God has revealed them unto who? God has revealed them unto who? Only two people has endeavored to answer. God have revealed them unto Abayomi Obabulijo. God has revealed them only to the bishops. God has revealed them only to the senior apostles. Unto us by a spirit. For the spirit searcheth few things. The spirit searcheth only things that have to do with the academics, or things that have to do with fashion designing. Yeah, the deep things of God. So what is spirit eye? Spirit eye is very simple. It is just your ability to see with the eyes of God. In other words, you are seeing the exact way God is seeing. So it's like they remove this your eyes, and the eyes they insert into the socket are the eyes of God. That is spirit eyes. Seeing what the eyes of ordinary man is not seeing. That is the eye of God. God sees everything. Being the creator of time, God himself is older than time. In other words, from the past, God had seen the future. The problems that we have as Christians is that we do not align with God. God knew that today will happen before today happened. It is true that may not know what will happen in your tomorrow. God already knows. Somebody shout hallelujah. Please, can we all close our eyes? Just close your eyes. Close your eyes. Have we all closed our eyes? Open it. Amen. When you were closing your eyes, can you see me? You cannot see me, right? But when you were closing your eyes, can you see anything? No, wait. Close your eyes again. Close your eyes again. Be conscious. Open your eyes. When you are closing your eyes, can you see me? Can you see this pulpit? But can you see anything? If you cannot see anything, your spirit is empty. Somebody shout hallelujah. When you close your eyes and you cannot see anything and it is just blank, your spirit is empty. You are not filled in the spirit. You need to develop your spirit eyes. Otherwise, when you close your eyes, an image should be formed. Even in traditional Yoruba, they say Tiaban Diju Amarina. If you close your eyes and no image is immediately formed, your spirit is low. It only tells of your level of spirituality and that you still need to go far. When you close your eyes, immediately an image is cast. You should see something. What you see when you close your eyes will be coming from your spirit. At that level, you have shut the door to the body. What you are left with will be your spirit and your what? And your mind. Somebody shout hallelujah. It is you that cannot see the future. It is you that cannot see the tomorrow. God already knows what will happen tomorrow. Why? Psalm 90, verse 1. It says, Lord, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations. Verse 2. Before the mountains were brought forth, or even thou hast formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting. Thou art God. God was before time. God comes ahead of time. In verse 4, he said, for 1,000 years in your sight, God sees. For 1,000 years, in the way that God says it, is but as yesterday when it is past, and as a watch in the night. Seeing with the spirit eyes is you seeing the way God will have seen, the way God sees. I told you the other day that Jesus saw totally different from the people. He saw the multitude, but he saw them as sheep. They were gathered, and then he saw them that they were actually scattered, as sheep having no shepherd. And yet they were human beings. They were adults. They were not driven to be with him. They came to him on their own volition. But what he could see was different from what was being presented. If you continue to see the way everybody sees, you can never beat them. If you see the situation in Nigeria, the only thought that will come to your mind is that you should japa, because there is no hope. What is spirit eyes? It is seeing that which God is showing you. And this is specific and not general. And I must confess, God is always showing, but you are not seeing. God is always speaking, but you are not hearing. God is always moving, but you are not aligned. And I will show you from the lives of a few Bible characters. I don't think we'll have time to read all the Bible passages. But it would have been better if we could read all. You will see how that God shows ahead what will happen. The problems we have is that when God is showing ahead what will happen, we are not seeing. When God is saying ahead what will happen, we are not listening. All that you do is to pray, 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 pray. When you pray, you listen. The first Bible character that I want to show you is Jacob. In Genesis chapter 25, verse 1. The Bible says, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. That is not where we are going. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. That is not where we are going. Verse 22. We start from there. And the children struggled together within Rebekah. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? Somebody shout hallelujah. The children were struggling. Something was being communicated. Most other women would just say it is natural, it is normal. But in the case of Rebekah, she said to herself, no, why is it so? Why am I like this? There must be something that will be prompting you. If you want to convert the current disability to ability, because the factors are already inside of you, you are not the one. You are not the one to create it. The factors are already created in you. The problem you have is that you are not deploying them. You are not deploying these factors because you don't even know. In verse 23. So in the later part of verse 22, and she went to inquire of who? Babalawo. She went to inquire of who? Of the Lord. Verse 23. And the Lord now said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from your bowels. And the one shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. She has heard. She was already in the know. They were kids, but the Bible called them nation. Only one individual. The Bible said he is a people. One shall be stronger than the other, and the one that will be the elder will serve the younger. The mother was already in the know, but the children did not know. Let's go to Genesis chapter 31. We read verse 10. Genesis 31, verse 10. And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived. Somebody shout hallelujah. The same child, one of those, now was born. And he has collected the birthright of his brother. You can't change it, because it was written. The eyes of God had already seen. And he has ventured to reveal it to the mother. I'm going somewhere. So the guy found himself in the house of Laban. And he has served. Jacob could say it was very tricky. Laban was what? Trickier. If Jacob says that is Yahoo Yahoo, then Laban was what? Yahoo plus. Yahoo plus plus. You know the story of how he Yahooed him. But again, you cannot Yahoo somebody that God created a Yahoo by nature. You Yahoo him, he will come back to Yahoo Yahoo you. Somebody shout hallelujah. It was in his nature. It was in his gene. But how did he achieve it? And it came to pass at the time that the cattle conceived. Let us read it together so that it will not be as if 1, 2, 3, go. That I 1, 2, 3, go. That I lifted my eyes and saw in. Let's stop there. I did what? I did what? And what happened? He lifted up his eyes and he saw in a dream. And behold, the rams which leaped upon the cattle were what? Ring-staked, speckled, and what? Grizzled. And verse 11. 1, 2, 3, go. And the angel of God spake unto me in a dream. Jacob, I said, here, verse 12. And see, all the rams which leap upon the cattle are ring-staked, speckled. For I have. Somebody shout hallelujah. And that is what I need. Please write this down. Because you will need it. That your success in life has been told by the events of your life. You are looking for success everywhere. The success is inside of you. How do you know that success? It has been stated in the events of your life, the circumstances of your life. The day you slept and you woke up late. The day you were ill and you were taken to the hospital. The day you got converted. How you were born, where you were born, to whom you were born. All the things that you had access to, the places you have been able to travel to, the people you met, your school, everything. This culminates together to tell you the story of your life and nothing more. If you are looking for one story anywhere or something, how you will be made, you will wait forever. Your success in life has been told by the events of your life. How far you can go has been told by the events of your life. The issue with you is that you have failed to take cognizance. As I was jotting this down, I found out that there's something that is just different about me. I'll give you an example. I was living in a village called Okedayo. Okedayo is like you were, how do I put it? Maybe Ikeja and Maryland. Okedayo is just part of Kaba. When was it? 1979. If I'm not mistaken, I think I was in primary 5. Or was it 1980? We're actually attending CMS. The master I was living with was the chief organist in our village CMS church. That's what they call Anglican now. So I don't attend normally Catholic church. But the school I was attending, St. Peter's Okedayo, was a Catholic school. So all those classmates of mine were already used to the system. So one evening, I went with them to go and stay with the father. The father was Father Foyen. I cannot forget. That was my first time. So for these other children, they were already used to the system. So when we got to the house of Father Foyen, everyone took position. I did not know that that was the position they were going to sleep. So because that was my first time, I never knew anything. I didn't take any position. So when it was time for us to sleep, those that would go and carry mat knew where the mats were. They went to carry, and then they laid the mat and they slept. Those that would sleep on the couch did. As a kid, I just found myself, I slept off. Where I slept, I cannot remember. But get the point here. When I woke up, what was it that woke me up? There was this, every one of us has the way our body odor is. I don't know what it is called. But I know that it was a smell of corn, more or less. When I woke up to life, lo and behold, I was on the same bed with our father. Others were there. The father probably knew their parents. Some of those kids were those that do carry plates and all those service, that they will wear that red and white attire and serve father during service. Some of those guys were, or those kids were, Clements and all the rest of them, Benjamin. I was never, that was my first time. But the father did not take any one of them to sleep on the same bed with him and then replaced me with them. When I woke up, when he took me and brought me to the same bed with him, I never knew. I woke up to find myself sleeping on the same bed with that father. If fathers do carry impartation, he has breathed on me, I will have contacted it. But even if fathers don't carry impartation, the fact is that I was elevated among my mates. It is a revelation of where I will be in life. My eyes did not see it. If you want to see how far you can go, study your life. It has already been revealed. But your eyes are closed. And then, that's why I live my life so much with confidence. Nothing stresses me. Why? Because I knew. Jacob said, the Yahoo that he did for for Laban, he saw in his dream. Somebody shout hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let me give you another one. Joseph. In Genesis chapter 37 verse 3, Israel loved Joseph more than all his children. Though the Bible says because he was the son of his old age. Madam, Joseph had a younger brother. What is the name of the younger brother? Now, why must he now love Joseph more than the youngest? Something was in that child. And he went ahead to make coats of many colors. For Joseph, he did not make coat of many colors for Benjamin, the youngest. So. He did not make coat of many colors for Reuben, the first. Something was unique about Joseph. And he didn't know about himself. Let's continue. And then in verse 6, and he said unto them, here I pray you this dream, because he now had a dream. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheaf arose and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves, talking to his brothers now, stood round about and made obeisance to my sheaf. And then he dreamed yet another dream and told it his brethren and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made what? Somebody shout hallelujah. Where you will go in life has been revealed in your dream. You were the one that forgot. I've told you this story before, if you could still recollect. How that when I left primary school, I did not immediately go to secondary school. I came to Lagos for 1 year to learn tailoring in Ketu Alakwere. I told you how that I later came to that same shop. All right? My Oga was still there between 1981 and 2000 and probably 9 or so, or was it 2008? He was still occupying the same shop, the same size, the same place. And I was driving past Alakwere. I did not prepare for it. And I remembered, this was the same shop, and I stopped. And I gave him a dash of 100,000 naira. The very first cut and sew suit that I ever had, it was that same shop where I was learning tailoring that I took it to. Somebody shout hallelujah. But while I was learning the tailoring job, I had a dream. I saw two trees, one with mango fruit, filled, the other one with cashew, all ripe. And there was a wind. And the two of them were now marching together. Back in days in our village, for you to eat mango, we have to go and be throwing stone or be throwing wood. Stick, thank you, stick. Or we climb up. But in this case, I did not climb. As the wind was blowing, the two trees would jam, and then mango fruit would drop, cashew fruit would drop. Me, I said, all I was doing was to pick mango. As I was eating mango, so I was eating cashew. And I could recall when we were in primary school that they told us don't eat cashew and mango together. Now I can give cholera. That was what they said. That was what I went to tell my mother. So that I would not have cholera. And she carried it to go and tell their white garment prophet. And they came back with an interpretation that if I choose to learn work, I will succeed. If I choose to go to school, I will succeed. It has already been revealed. It is not particular to me. You have had your own dreams. Your problem is that you forgot. Look at the sequence. Either Joseph, either Jacob. Dreams came and they walked by it. But you had your... See, that dream is seen in the eyes of the spirit. It is God in your dream that is telling you what will come, what will be. I challenge you today. Go back and visit all the dreams you have ever had. And if you cannot, from today, make sure that you take note of all the dreams you ever have. It is a revelation. It is God speaking to you. Not through the mouth of a prophet, but telling you directly what is going to happen to you. Look at the story of Moses, for example, also. Apostle Paul summarized it. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23, in TPT, it says, by faith, or faith prompted the parents of Moses at his birth to hide him for 3 months because they realized their child was exceptional and they refused to be afraid of the king's edict. Somebody shout hallelujah. But what are the problems that parents have today? And that is why the children are not significant. You look at your children, or you look at your child, you look at your son. You are not seeing what is special about this child. That others, it is the jam that the child did not pass that you are focusing on. It is the paper that the child did not make in WAEC that you are focusing on. When you do that, do you know what you are doing? You are actually killing the child. In the case of Moses, they opened their eyes and they saw something. There was a communication. That was spirit communication. You did not see anything good in yourself, and you have not seen anything good in all those children. If you don't change the way you see your children, they will amount to nothing. Pharaoh was not even a Christian. How to see like God. How to see with the eyes of the Spirit. Summarily, take note of all the dreams you do have. If you tell me you sleep, you don't dream, I will say your spirit is 0. Develop your spirit self. Genesis chapter 41. Pharaoh was not a Christian. Egypt was not a godly nation. In verse 1, and it came to pass at the end of 2 full years that Pharaoh dreamed. These 2 years was 2 years that Joseph had been in the prison. So that those dreams came not because of Pharaoh, but because of who? Joseph. Story for another day. And behold, he stood by the river, and behold, there came up out of the river 7 well-favored kine, and fat-fleshed, and they fed in a meadow. Verse 3, and behold, 7 other kine came up after them out of the river, ill-favored, and lean-fleshed, and stood by the other kine upon the brink of the river. And the ill-favored, you know the story. But where I want us to see is this. In verse 18, and it came to pass in the morning. Verse 18. Let us read verse 18 together. 1, 2, 3, go. No, verse 8. Verse 8. 41, verse 8. Yes. Stop it there. Spirit of a king who really did not know God. His body was not troubled. But his spirit was what? What he saw was a communication to his spirit of what was going to happen. It was a communication. Anytime you have a dream, it is a communication to what? Your spirit. But it's a function of the kind of spirit you carry. If masquerade is always pursuing you, it tells you that you are carrying what? Foul spirit. Ologomugomu spirit. So you are seen with spirit eyes. You are the one that didn't know. So what are you to do? Revisit your past dreams. It is no more than that. Oh. I told you how that I saw myself in a dream. All right? In the aircraft, traveling overseas. Did I ever look like it? No. As at that time, I never had a record of my family. In fact, nobody in my generation that I heard of that ever traveled out. I was battling with life. I was at the lowest level of life. And I saw myself. And I did not do anything specifically or specially to eventually make the dream possible. For goodness sake, if I want to travel tomorrow morning, except that my visas are expired, I can afford to go and come back. If I want to renew my visa, I can easily go, renew it, and travel and come back. To me, traveling overseas is no longer an achievement. I don't have any record. You will never see one picture anywhere that I took. In America, in UK. Never one. I never had. I never saw. Hey, in the aircraft, pray for me on Facebook. I'm going to America. I never did. Not an achievement. However, the very day I was given American visa, my very first attempt, I told you that I sang a song. America, ton so pa oni le lo alo abo moje. When did I see it communicated to me in the spirit? 1991. When did I eventually go? 2006 or was it 2007? Look at the years. Visit your dreams. If I stop here today, I've communicated. From now, every dreams you have, please take note of it. Every dream you have concerning your children, please see. My wife was pregnant of our second child. She was already buying blue collar. But in my dream, I slept and I saw myself carrying a beautiful baby girl and then dancing in the church. And I named that child even before the child was born, Aramide. That is why everybody calls her Tireni, and I call her Aramide. So as far as the child is concerned, I don't need to stress myself about her life. Why? She's a child to bring me joy. Go and use your witchcraft against her. It will bounce back on you. Why? Because the spirit has what? You stress because your spirit eyes are dead. You struggle. I told you of the operations that I do now. I said a friend call. Said, let us do this. I said, give me 2 months. He said, I will give you 2 weeks. I knelt down. As I was praying, the thing came as inspiration. Wow. And in the middle of the night, I gave thanks to God. In the morning, I called them. The following day, I was on my way to Ibadan. That is why I've been going to Ibadan now for the last 4 years and counting. I've not slept 3 hours between last night and today, monitoring what they were doing. How did it come? By the Spirit. You cannot use your witchcraft to cause it. It will bounce on you. Why? I got it on my nails. Spirit eyes is that which will help you to see deep things. It will help you to see far. It will help you to see brighter than all. The things which God has prepared for you has to come to you by revelation, by Spirit. Somebody shout hallelujah. How do you develop the spirit eyes as I round off this morning? Number 1, by being born again genuinely. When I said, I'm sorry to say, you might not agree with what I'm going to say now. When I say close your eyes, and you said you couldn't see anything, my own conclusion is that you are not genuinely born again. And I will tell you why. When a new child is born, does that child need anybody to teach the child how to see? These days, the day you give birth to a child, what does the child do? Allah join. Some will even open the eyes wide. As a matter of fact, as if they are 3-year-old. A day-old child. Who taught the child to see? Somebody shout hallelujah. If you are genuinely born of God, if you are genuinely born of the Spirit, nobody will need to teach you to see into the Spirit. You will see into the Spirit. You will dream. God will show you. The problem is that you are not genuinely born again. Go and revisit it. I'm not talking to the general public. There are people that might be watching me now. What I'm saying will not make sense to them. Because they are not spiritually inclined. This is not talk. They won't understand. When a new baby is born, nobody teaches the child to cry. If the child is hungry, you will be forced to wake up. That voice, who taught the child? Who teaches a child how to hear? These things come naturally with them. And when the child begins to grow to a level, by the time you stretch your hand, the child naturally knows what you are saying is I want to carry you. If you are the type that the child wants to follow, what does the child do? And if you are the one that the child doesn't want to follow, what does the child do? Who taught the child to do all those things? You are not in spirit because you are not genuinely born again. Your spirit is yet to be refined. That's the gospel truth. And that's why some of the things we are saying now might be strange to you. If you are genuinely born again, you will not find it difficult hearing the Holy Spirit speak. It says, as many as are led by the Spirit, they are the who? They are the who? Are you being led by the Spirit? Are you being led? If you are being led by the Spirit, life will not be difficult for you. Please rise on your feet. How do you know that the Spirit is speaking to you? I told you that day when we got there and we didn't want to buy because I didn't have the money. I didn't look like somebody that would be able to raise the money. I did not at all. I was wearing cap. It was a Friday. They came, they said, sell the thing to this guy. Buy. I said I didn't want to buy. I didn't have money. But when they were convincing me, what did I do? I removed my cap and I began to speak in the Spirit. And something within me just bolted up. The confidence just came. And what did I do? I put on my cap. I told them, go and write your MOU. And we agreed on the price. And they wrote the MOU. I said it today. I did not bother to give the MOU to another lawyer for a contrary opinion. I just accepted whatever their lawyer wrote, hook, line, and sinker. And by the grace of the living God, during COVID the following year, they were fully settled. If I tell you it was by me, I die immediately. The confidence will just come. The boldness will just come. I was saying the other time a sister in this church was getting married to a Muslim. And I said, don't. And she said she is convinced. This. And I was asking, when you have your child, we'll give the child, the father will give the child Taj. And you with this. But you people went to do the naming ceremony. When was it? Last Sunday. Inside the rain. She was convinced. Now, if she has accepted what I said, maybe she will have remained unmarried. Till now. Somebody shout hallelujah. Which means that this that we are saying is personal. But the problem you have is that you are looking for a bishop to direct you. She was not waiting for a pastor to lay hands on her. She laid hands on herself. She knew. She said, I know. When you went there to do the naming ceremony, did you see her far? Was there a competition? Let the Spirit speak. Let Him lead you. That is how to convert everything negative in your life to positive. When the dream came for Joseph, did he start from the top? But at the end of the day, did he not get to the top? Somebody shout hallelujah. You begin to scratch your body from the down. When the Spirit has spoken, and you know you have received from the Spirit, no matter the level of difficulty, stay and never allow your gaze to be off God at any point in time. I've taken your time. Lift your hands to the heavens and say, open my eyes, O Lord. Hallelujah. Holy Spirit, Lord, I am ready to